welcome everyone. I'm so glad you've chosen to join us tonight for SibFest, our last official program. We have another program tomorrow evening as a partnership with Rams After Hours that we hope we see you at. Mark Toland, The Mentalist, at 8 p.m. Tonight, we're very excited about this program, which is an awesome partnership with our Center for Trans and Queer Advocacy, the Dowdy Multicultural Center, and the Center for Women and Gender Equity. So we have a great program on deck for you. We appreciate all of your participation this week. It's been a wonderful experience for us, and we've loved seeing you all and being a part of your week. So I am happy to pass the mic over to two amazing student leaders, Em and KT, who are from the Center for Trans and Queer Advocacy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Em. I use they, them pronouns, and I am a peer educator with the Center for Trans and Queer Advocacy. And Katie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Katie. I use they, them, he, him pronouns. And I'm also a peer educator for the Center for Trans and Queer Advocacy.
All right, so our center, we have a bunch of employees. So we have our professional staff, Tiffany Gray, she's our senior director. Stephen Feldman is our assistant director. Susie Davidson is our assistant. We also have a graduate assistant, and we have 5 peer educators within our office, including me and KT.
So at our center, we offer support for folks who are in the process of coming out with their sexuality or gender and or transitioning, helping navigating the preferred name process at Westchester, as well as navigating professors. We also advocate on behalf of any queer and trans students, faculty, and staff on campus. And we provide space for both physically and virtually for folks to come together and build community with trainings and like hangout activities. You can schedule up. Oops.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, all our contact information will be at the end of the slides here. And if you ever want to contact our office, you can feel free to contact us. So going into our, what we do as a center, so our programs that we do every semester, RAM-I-AMs, Queering the Conversation, and then Lavender Graduations in the spring, Queer Pride Days in the fall. And then we also offer a series of trainings every semester, all of which Westchester does our co-curricular transcript, and all of our trainings can go on that. So if you're interested in coming, definitely look into that. So a little bit more specific on what we do. So our programs, the RAM-I-AMs are discussion-based, where we center and celebrate people of various identity groups. And the ones we're doing this semester are Queer and Trans People of Color Week, Queer Media from the Margins, Trans Week of Visibility, and Non-Binary Week. So for these, we put on just discussion-based presentations. We find topics within these identity groups that we think would be interesting. These are less of educating everyone else and more of celebrating these identities. We also have our Queering the Conversation series, where we have guest speakers come in on various topics. During Queer Pride Day, like I mentioned, it's a celebration of everything Pride. It's in early October, and we do it a little bit differently every year, but there's always, free swag involved. And then Lavender Graduation in the spring is a special ceremony for LGBT graduating both undergraduate and graduate students to celebrate their achievements, contributions, and experiences at Westchester.
Yeah, and then here are some of the trainings we host either each semester or at least every year. So Queer Basics is just teaching the basics of the LGBTQ plus community. And it's just about an hour where it's just talking and educating. Trans advocacy, trans, non-binary, gender fluid, genderqueer. We just talk about terminology and problematic language. Also incorporating Westchester policies and how to be a good advocate. Intersectionality and Practice, I just had this week. talking about intersectionality, what does it mean, how does it function, what we can do to support people who have intersecting identities. From allyship to advocacy, what does it mean to be an ally versus an advocate? This is one of our longer trainings. It's 2 hours. Examining privilege, language. We talk a lot about ways to improve the climate for trans and queer communities.
So also related to our office is the student-run organization SAGA, which is a Sexuality and Gender Alliance. It is a student-run club that offers education, discussion, resources, all that kind of stuff. I think the time stays relatively the same. It's usually Mondays.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
I'm the treasurer for next year, and we're gonna stay, as of right now, we're gonna stay at relatively the same time, 4:30 to 5:30 every Monday in the bottom of Sykes.
Yeah, and then Saga also has 2 groups within it. They're break-off groups, Shades of the Rainbow, which celebrates trans and queer people of color, and then Tea Time, which is for the trans and non-binary community.
All right, so queer life at Westchester.
Yeah, so here you can see Shades of the Rainbow, Tea Time. Bottom left is our graduate assistant and one of the other peer educators tabling in Sykes back when we were allowed to do that. The center picture is the mural that's on the outside of our office, and the last picture is what we do for Transgender Day of Remembrance, I believe. Yeah. And that's outside of Sykes. We do that.
Yeah, and Tea Time and Shades of the Rainbow, those times change every semester, but they're just hangout sessions just for people to get to know each other and lean on each other for support and build some community.
Yeah, so here's all our contact information as well as where to find us on social media. So if you're ever interested, want to reach out, totally cool. Also, little known fact, some of our trainings and programs are actually open to the public, not just Westchester. It's a select few, it's not all of them, but if you're interested, you can check out our website, and you can see if there's any that you're interested that might be open to the public. All right, and I think with that, we are going to pass it back to Lexi McCarthy.
Thank you, Evan, KT. That was awesome. Definitely, it was a great intro to your space, and I loved the invitation at the end to join in future trainings. I loved the intersectionality training this week, Katie. Okay, so next we're going to share, I'm going to share some videos that were pre-recorded by other student leaders, and then after that, we'll hop into some Q&A. So just give me 1 second as I share my screen.
Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Gaston. I'm a junior at Westchester University, and today I will be talking to you all about being a student assistant at the Dowdy Multicultural Center. So I will share my screen and get started. All right. So as I said, my name is Lauren Gaston. I use the pronouns she, her, and hers. I'm a junior studying exercise science, preoccupational therapy, and I'm a psychology minor. Some things I've been involved in this year. I am a peer mentor for the Dowdy Multicultural Center. I mentor 2 students throughout their first year of Westchester, helping them with resources and their assignments and just helping them get through their first year at Westchester University. Another organization I've been a part of this semester, I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I'm the social action chair, and I'm also the emergency response team liaison. And what I will be talking to you all most about today, I am a student assistant for the Dowdy Multicultural Center. So let's go into what is the Dowdy Multicultural Center, or DMC. The DMC promotes holistic wellness, holistic success, and development of students of color through collaborative co-curricular experiences that promote multicultural awareness, create a sense of belonging, affirm racial and cultural identity, and empower all students to challenge systems of oppression. The Downey Multicultural Center serves as a campus gathering place and resource programming center for all students and other members of the university community to enhance awareness and appreciation of diversity and inclusion. My favorite part about the DMC is being able to gather with a whole bunch of people and just talk and use that space as a space of networking and communication. And it's really a great place to be in. And if it wasn't for the Downey Multicultural Center, I would not be a student here today. So it is located in the bottom floor of Sykes, and it looks exactly like the picture. All right, so I will go into my role of a student assistant at the Downey Multicultural Center. So I assist in planning, implementing, and evaluating various academic, community engagement, and leadership education programs for the center, distribute program advertisement through flyer postings, emails, and other media, and plan other student staff programs and services. So mostly what this is all saying, mostly I create flyers and I help assist in programs, and I meet with staff, and we all just talk about, brainstorm different ideas for community engagement, student engagement, and different activities for the students and staff to do. So some projects I've been working on. This was a project I worked on in February. We created this poster, this flyer rather, to promote a program. It was the Black Lives and Legacy of George Floyd, a conversation. And I was just responsible for getting this flyer together and sending it out, getting it approved. And then my supervisor then sent that out to the appropriate parties. Another project that we did was for Latinx Heritage Month. And so what we did was we made like 8 of these flyers, and just to educate people on different community figures in the Latinx community. We also had 2 students speak about their relationship with the Latinx community and how much it means to them. And we also recorded that and posted it on Instagram, our Instagram page. Woo! All right, so some other projects I've worked on. So I created, along with the other student assistant, there are 2 of us, we created the Black History Month Kahoot and the Native American Heritage Month Kahoot. This was really interesting for me. It was really nice to be able to dive deeper into the history that I'm more aware of, Black history, and to learn more about the Native American heritage and their history. So we created Kahoots, and I helped facilitate the Black History Month Kahoot. I also have introduced speakers at different webinars and helped facilitate those webinars as well. And something new that we've tried is called the Zoom Room. So like I said before, the Downey Multicultural Center was used as a space to network and talk to other students at Westchester. And the Zoom Room, the purpose of the Zoom Room is to act like that space virtually. So yes, we hosted the Zoom Room. Some upcoming projects. So Women's History Month is coming up, and we are planning to post different women each week and educate people on the different women who've made history throughout our time. And also a PETA Heritage Month, that's coming up in May, but we're going to talk about it more so in April. And we're working on a program for that. It's really in-depth. It's honestly probably going to be one of the bigger projects that I've ever done. So I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, that's it for me. But so the Downey Multicultural Center student assistant just makes projects, helps out the center whenever we can. And it's great. I really do love it. And I'm really thankful for this opportunity. Thank you for having me.
Hi everybody. My name is Allie. I'm a junior here at Westchester University. I'm an English major, and I have minors in journalism and women's and gender studies. And I'm also a peer educator at the Center for Women's and Gender Equity. And I'm going to be here talking to you guys a little bit about that today, which is so exciting. Thank you so much for having me and for wanting to hang out and listen. And I'm so excited to be here. So like I mentioned, I'm a peer educator at the Center for Women's and Gender Equity. The Center for Women's and Gender Equity on campus is such a cool place to work and such a cool place to go and be involved with just in general. We host so many programs based around gender diversity, race diversity, inclusivity, equity, all of the good things. There's so much to learn. We cover so many topics throughout our programs and events and learning opportunities. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I personally do as a peer educator. So this semester, I kind of have two current roles. One thing that I work very hard on is working with a program called It's On Us, and it's a little bit separate from the Center for Women's and Gender Equity, but it's very much involved, and we work together quite a lot. I am the peer representative for the It's On Us campaign, and the It's On Us campaign was started several years ago when Joe Biden, who is now our president, was the vice president. The campaign has since moved a little bit away from him, but it was originally started by President Biden. And it was a movement to end sexual abuse and assault on college campuses, much like Westchester. And so since then, many campuses across the country have opened and started their own chapter of It's On Us, and Westchester is the same. And so every year we work really hard to produce 2 weeks of action, one in the fall, one in the spring, where we have an entire week dedicated to educating and promoting what it means to be a good bystander, taking care of your friends and your peers, making sure that consent and your voice and saying yes and no to things is something that is really pushed for and well known and well spread. And so we do so many cool things. This year it looked a little bit different because obviously we're all online. So many of our events happened virtually. We had an It's On Us History Day where we talked about how the campaign was started. We had some cool question and answer days, Q&A days on our Instagram where people were able to respond to different questions about what makes them feel safe and what makes them feel happy and heard. And all kinds of different things like that. In normal settings, we do really cool things like the Clothesline Project, where people are able to create different t-shirts and graphic designs for survivors of any sort of sexual violence on college campuses, and they get hung around our school. And yeah, basically my job is just to work with the people at the Center for Women's and Gender Equity to curate all of that and make sure that all of that happens and that we can do it in really creative and fun and safe and happy ways. And it's something that I think a lot of people on campus look forward to. And so my second job this year as a peer educator is really exciting, and it's something that I've dedicated a lot of time to kind of coming up with on my own. One of the prompts we were given at the end of last semester was to come up with our own program to curate through the center. And I decided that I wanted to do the Center for Women's and Gender Equity Book Club, which is something that I'm super passionate about. I love to read. Like I mentioned, I'm an English major, so I'm just born book nerd, but I love reading in my free time. And something I noticed is that all the discussions around diversity and inclusivity and equity regarding books in the book community, whether that's on social media or in real life, so much of that had to do with educational literature, which is a great place to start, but I also think that we should be implementing diversity in our pleasure reading as well, which means seeing Black representation, Asian representation, Latinx representation in fantasy, romance, fiction, all across the board, non-binary characters, trans characters, all of those good things that aren't as heard in our stories that we read for pleasure and read for fun. We should be hearing those voices and reading those narratives and seeing more of those authors that are writing about their own experiences of those identities. So the book club is sort of a 12-week program where each week we hop on Instagram Live on our Instagram stories, and we do a little 15-minute program running down one book each week. You don't have to have read the book beforehand. We kind of assume that you don't. And we just talk about all the good things about that book. So next week, we're going to be talking about To All the Boys I Loved Before. That's a big one and something you might know. The third movie from that series just came out on Netflix last week, right before Valentine's Day. So each week we do some really cool stuff. And next week To All the Boys, we'll be discussing Jenny Han, who's the author, and all the wonderful things that she's written, and talking about the characters in To All the Boys and the whole series, and really just promoting people being able to read books where they feel represented and they feel heard. And then a really awesome part of that is that we have actually purchased all of the books that we are going to be talking about this semester, and each of those books are going to be able to be checked out from our own personal library at the center. So my job kind of is to shoot all those videos. I'm sort of the host, and then I publish them, and we run questions throughout the week and do different promotional activities and things like that, and it's so fun. And so just those roles that I have at the center are things that are really important to me and that I really enjoy spending time with. I'm very passionate about them, and I'm so thankful that I'm able to have the opportunity to do those kinds of things on campus, because they really just make me so happy, and I'm so glad I got to share all that with you. Thank you so much again for having me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on my email. Bye. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jameer Mallory. I serve as the graduate assistant for the Dali Multicultural Center. I'm a first-year graduate student here at West Chester University. I major in the Higher Education Policy and Student Affairs program. And for this show and tell, I don't have anything to show, but I want to tell you a little bit about what I do in the DMC, and how my experience in undergrad led me to this moment here today. So for DMC, I am in charge of I assist my supervisor, Denise, with the Parent Mentor Program and also the Brothers of Excellence Conference. And the Parent Mentor Program is a group of about 25 to 30 mentors, upper class mentors who they mentor incoming freshmen. So usually about like 2 to 3 freshmen per mentor, and they assist them with like campus resources, social life, getting around, helping them with like homework, study habits, just taking them from high school and introducing them to that college experience, like basically taking them under their wing to help them succeed. So we assist with that, and with the Brothers of Excellence Conference, there's an annual conference every year, about the spring, where a group of like young Black men or men of color, men who identify as like men of color, come together annually. Like I said, once a year, and we hold like different workshops. So like better promote young men. So we talk about like how to repair relationships, financial like literacy, just like the whole mental of brotherhood, like promoting brotherhood, like unity and love, things of that nature. So the one that just passed, this past Thursday, February 25th, was about the theme of this one was strength in numbers. So like I said, we was promoting like unity, love, and like brotherhood. In this conference, like, we were really pushing that hard. Especially like everything going on in the world. We just wanted to give a space, for young men to come together, for once, and really build relationships, and like just expand like on love and unity. Something that we really pushed. And what led to me like to this moment to get here was like my undergrad experience. I went to Ursinus College in undergrad, where I was a student leader, I would say. I definitely had my hands in like a lot of different things, working in student affairs, working in like leading like our mentoring program for 3 years. There's some other things I did that led me to wanting to like give back and like help others. I think that was the biggest thing that led me to West Chester for grad school in higher education, but also like for the DMC, just like what they stand for, helping like people of color, like being there for them, like promoting like social activism, social justice, but also like a safe space for students of color. That's something I really took pride in undergrad. So when the West Chester offered, the graduate assistantship for the DMC, I proudly applied and took the position once accepted. That's like, you know, the thing I'm doing right now. I've only been here for about 5 months now. So, you know, it's all virtual now. So I'm still learning things about the school, you know, still getting my feet wet. But I think the biggest takeaway for someone who's in like that middle school, high school age, to think about college, like what they want to do next, is like, you know, get involved, like get active. So I was involved in high school. I was involved in college. I came into college not knowing what I wanted to do. I came in as an econ major. Think I wanted to do like finance stuff. And then changed my major to sociology. I found I was passionate about like race, like social justice, and social activism, and like just like leadership stuff. And econ just wasn't for me. Especially like I think going to like the real world. You know, the Black Lives Matter movements and the LGBTQ plus movements, things of that nature. Just the whole lack of equality and equity going on in the world is really also what sparked my interest in sociology and the work I'm doing now. So I would say like just get active, get involved, because you may want to do one thing like coming in, and then like different experiences that you go through. You might say, oh, like you may want to switch. You know, like as I said, I changed my major twice. I changed my career path a million times, and it took me until my senior year of college to really find what I wanted to do. So I'm glad I went through all those obstacles and challenges, like different activities, because you let me know like what I like, what I don't like, and that's how I ended up at, you know, West Chester University for grad school, and with the DMC for my graduate assistantship. And I would say like I love what I do. But yeah, the biggest takeaway from this is, you know, be active, stay involved, because I think that's the only way you can figure out what you want to do, like what's your purpose. And like I said, this is what got me to what I'm doing now. If you have any questions, you can email me. My email is jm956476@wcupa.edu. I'm happy to answer any and all questions in chat, you know, with y'all, like one-on-one, or whatever the case may be. Because I was in your same position at one point, and I think it's very helpful to have someone like who may be where you want to be, to give you like insight. You can look things up on the internet, but having that conversation with someone who already been through it or who's going through it, I think it's so much more valuable. So yeah, please reach out to me whenever, and I would definitely love to chat with you all, or some of you.
Hello everyone, my name is Jessica Wilson. I'm a third-year student here at West Chester University studying exercise science with a concentration in physical therapy. So I'm just going to give you all a little rundown of my experience so far at West Chester. So I graduated high school in 2018, where I was heavily involved. I had a task to do almost every single day, but that's what I enjoy. I enjoy being busy. So transitioning into college, where it's almost a fresh start, free range, it's definitely an adjustment. But luckily, West Chester has so many different opportunities and so many different activities to get involved with that it's almost impossible to not do anything there. So in the beginning of the semester, West Chester hosts an involvement fair where they have over 170 clubs, activities, athletics, where you can just interact with on the academic quad. And there, at that time, was when I met my mentor of the Downey Multicultural Center. He was my guidance through my first year of college. If I had any issues, concerns, questions, he was there for me. His impact on me has shaped and has almost put me in the position that I am in today. I currently hold the position of lead peer mentor of the Downey Multicultural Center. So as the Downey Multicultural Center mentoring program, we help first year and transfer students get a good sense of campus resources, establish different support networks, and just build on good habits of holistic wellness. So, and it's sometimes it's mostly student run. So the mentors are also students. And we have a welcoming staff, a great staff. I'm also work as a coach of TSC All-Stars cheerleading gym. I work with the Rammy mascot, and I am the manager at a local business in my town. So it's rough. It's definitely an adjustment, but there's not one person at Westchester University that is not watching you in the best sense. There's always someone that has your back at Westchester is what I'm trying to say. So you just have to think big, keep an open mind. There's so many different opportunities, activities. There's almost something for everyone at Westchester University. So just be open to it. There's honestly something for everyone here at Westchester. So I hope you guys all have a great day.
Thank you to those great students who pre-recorded sessions. I hope everyone enjoyed that piece of the program. So we're going to move on to the next portion of the program, which is a Q&A. But I first want to have some of my panelists who have not shown their videos yet have a chance to an opportunity to introduce yourselves to our guests here tonight. So I'm going to call on you if that's okay. I would love for Tess to introduce themselves first.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, Lexi. So my name is Tess Spencer. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. I am the Assistant Director of Outreach and Engagement for the Center for Women and Gender Equity. So that means that my job primarily involves a lot of the program and event planning that happens, as well as connecting with other campus partners like Lexi and Parent and Family Relations, but also our other wonderful folks here on this call. And yeah, it's really great, and I just really love being able to do a lot of really wonderful stuff to promote gender equity on campus.
Thanks, Tess. Sasha, I want to invite you to introduce yourself next as a member of the CW and GE team.
Hey everyone, my name is Sasha. I'm a peer educator at the Center for Women and Gender Equity, so I work with Tess a lot. Some of the things I do were some of the things that Ali mentioned, another peer educator. So basically, yeah, we just create change through sex positive and anti-violence prevention initiatives. We educate our campus on gender equity issues, and overall, we just advocate for a more inclusive culture at Westchester. So I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here, Sasha. Over to you, Denise.
Hi, everyone. My name is Denise Velez, and I serve as the Associate Director for the Dowdy Multicultural Center, pronouns she, they. And I am so excited to always share the different resources and work with some of the really amazing students that you got a chance to see today. And so we do a lot of different programming that is open to students of color, as well as any other student that's willing and wanting to engage in these conversations. So we're here to support and to really get you involved in all the different ways that can really help you down the line once you leave college. So I know that's a big step, thinking like way ahead, but we're here for that. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Denise. And last but certainly not least, Stephen Feldman.
Hi, everyone. So great to be here with all of you. My name is Stephen Feldman. I use he, him, his, or they, them, theirs pronouns. I work as the Assistant Director for the Center for Trans and Queer Advocacy. So a lot of what I get to do on campus is working with our student staff in the center. So folks like Em and Katie, who you just met earlier today, as well as our other peer educators and our graduate assistant. As Em and Katie beautifully discussed earlier, we have a lot of different programs that I get to be involved with. And I also do a lot of work with folks from different offices around campus. So I also get to be in community a lot with Tess, Lexi, and Denise. And so that's a little bit about me and what we do here. And yeah, really excited to hear some of your questions.
Thank you, Stephen. And thank you to all my panelists for being here tonight. I am going to request that our folks who are here joining us are welcome to put questions in the chat. You just want to send those over to us. We will happily answer them. But as we're waiting for questions to come in, I do have a few questions that I'd love to pose this group. The first being, can you describe what equity and inclusion looks like at Westchester? And feel free to just jump right in.
So I can go. Oh, sorry, my leg got a little weird there. All the fun things of Zoom. So equity and inclusion at Westchester, I would certainly describe it as a work in progress, if that makes sense. But I would definitely say that the real like thrust for striving for change, for positive change, for more inclusive policies, for more equitable, practical engagement on campus, I would really say that that is really being driven a lot by our students. Our students are the ones I find who have the drive, who have the creativity to think big, think critically, think about the ways that we can really change our campus and our world to be a better and more inclusive place. So I'm so grateful to get to work with these wonderful and brilliant and talented young scholars who are they're really bringing such energy and such passion and also such frustration about the current state of affairs into things. And it's a good thing to kind of work with them and find ways to harness that frustration and anger into something productive, into really like striving for change. So I would definitely say the students are the ones to watch when it comes to really imagining how a more equitable and inclusive future at Westchester would look.
How exciting. Thanks, Tess, for sharing. Anyone else want to tackle that question?
Yes. So I'm actually going to follow up with what Tess was saying. So I think some of the things that we often don't get taught in our K through 12 system is definitely the way that young people and youth get the chance to really make some changes. And so if you look across history, it is a lot of the times the young people, the ones that have pushed us to do better and be better as a society. So I'm just putting it out there in terms of thinking about yourselves as being part of our Westchester community, that in some ways we are looking for you and to you to really inform and help us think bigger than what we have now on our campuses. And you'll see it all across like different parts of history, including, so I was an ethnic studies major as an undergraduate student. And so that major did not come to exist on its own, right? It was a lot of push and desire for folks to really learn about their own histories that doesn't often get told in our school systems. And so that is one small example of how much, students have an influence and an impact on how we move forward. So in so many ways, I would say, Westchester has those opportunities, including working with our offices and outside of those offices, as well as you could hear some of the student testimonies of the types of things that they're involved with.
Thanks, Denise, and thanks for sharing a piece about your story too. I'm going to move on to our next question, and I'm going to pose it to our students about why they chose Westchester, and what makes Westchester unique.
Yeah, so I can speak a little bit on that. Actually, I used to go to Kutztown University, and I transferred to Westchester because of their student life. My old university lacked engagement with students. Our orgs weren't really so much of a thing. So when I got to Westchester, there was like such an array of different organizations. And actually, I've even come to start my own along with my friends. So I think that that's such a beautiful thing about Westchester, is that they offer you so many opportunities for you to, join so many organizations that already exist and that are centered around inclusivity and equity issues, but also give you the opportunity to start your own. And working as a peer educator at Westchester, the center has really given me free rein to create projects on my own that I think will better our campus. So that's one of the things that I really love about just being a student here at Westchester, is that you're offered so many opportunities and resources, and at the same time, they're fun. Like, there's things that you can do that are fun, but that can also, help with whatever movement you're trying to make.
And Sasha, what club did you start?
So actually, it's a new org. We're still being officialized, but it's called Generation Action. So it's affiliated with Planned Parenthood. So basically what we do is we fight for reproductive justice, sexual health, and just things like that. And so I noticed that our campus didn't have an organization centered around that specific subject. So with the help of people like Tess and my other advisors, actually, Tess is my advisor for that club. So thank you, Tess. Shout out to you. But yeah, like they have given me so many opportunities to really network and reach out to different offices so that this organization can really just become what it is.
Awesome. Thank you, Sasha. And thank you, Tess, for your leadership. Em or KT, do you want to share anything about how you chose Westchester or what makes Westchester unique?
Yeah, so I'm a senior, I'm about to graduate, but I chose Westchester, similar to Sasha, because of the amazing opportunities that I saw here. Back when I was in high school, like I went to a really small charter school and I just wanted a bigger experience. I wanted the opportunities. And Westchester was definitely a way to do that. I did get guided here. A lot of my teachers back when I was younger went here. But it's given me just all the opportunities. You know, I'm a musician, so I can get opportunities to go perform in Philly, but then I can also get opportunities to work in offices like these. I've worked in a couple different student affairs offices, and this is definitely the best experience I've had. It's given me a lot of experience that I can take with me post graduation, which is amazing and scary to think about. But yeah, I just, similar to Sasha, it's just all about the opportunities, and this seemed like the best place for me to be.
Thanks, Em. And Em's also was a part of the Ram band at some point. Is that still the case? Oh yeah, incomparable, naturally. Always
Yes.
reference.
Always incomparable. I marched the clarinet, so.
I had to throw it in. Awesome. Well, my next question, if KT doesn't want to pop in, which is totally fine, is about advice you'd give your younger selves. And I'm going to pose this to our older adults. I hate to say that, but our professional staff on the call, as well as our students, to talk about some of that advice you'd give your younger self as you were discovering who you were and what you were to become. And I want to ask if Stephen will share a little bit of something. Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah, I can get started. My advice is not to just recognize that you don't need to have everything figured out yet, but embrace that. I changed my major like 5 times when I was in college. I thought that when I went in, I was like, I'm going to be an engineer. Nope, not at all. And what I'm doing now, I would never have even dreamed of. So definitely embrace the fact that you don't have to have everything figured out. I think especially in sort of K-12, but especially in high school, we talk about it like you need to. Like, oh yeah, you're going to go be a doctor. You're going to go be a musician. And no, life throws curveballs at you that you don't expect. And I think that's what makes it really fun and exciting. So use college as the opportunity to try out different majors and join a lot of student organizations, work on campus, do some internships. Use that as an opportunity to learn more about what you actually want to do, not just what everybody tells you that you want to do. Figure that out for yourself.
I love that. Thanks, Stephen. I can certainly relate. I started college as a chemistry major, pre-med, and now I'm an education person. So certainly it's a good experience to figure out who you are and what you want to be. If you'd like to answer this question, feel free to throw your videos up and we can chat with you. Thanks, Tess.
Yeah. Hey, so I would definitely echo a lot of what Stephen said as well. When I entered into college, I was convinced that I was pre-law. I was a poli-sci major. I was convinced I was going to be a lawyer. That just isn't really what brought me joy. And so I think, I would give the advice to myself to be curious about anything that kind of sparks your fancy. The work that I do now is primarily in part because my roommate freshman year invited me to go to get some free pizza at an office that was doing an event on stopping sexual violence. So I probably wouldn't have gotten into this work if I hadn't been like, I'm interested in pizza. So sort of, like explore different options, try things on, try out things your friends are doing, try out things your friends aren't doing. and just be willing to be curious. I might also add, as I'm a first generation college student, so I'm the first person in my family to go to college, and that might be the experience of you or your sibling. It can be really hard, but understand that it's okay not to know everything, and that there are people who are around whose job is literally to help you navigate that stuff. It may not feel like the most natural to like Google like who can tell me what an advisor does, but those answers exist on the internet, and you can find those folks on campus to help you answer those questions.
And this feels like a very natural place to call out our first generation students group, as well as our initiative at the University of Westchester's First. So feel free to check that out as well. Tess, I loved when you said what sparks your fancy, right? Like that's what it's all about. And it's okay not to have your fancy figured out just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely always encourage folks to try stuff on. Maybe it doesn't fit, but maybe it fits way better than you thought it would.
I love that. Thanks, Tess. Any of our students want to share some advice they'd give their younger selves, their high school versions? Thanks, KT.
Yeah, so I would definitely tell myself to just like have fun with it and not worry about money, because I was like, I need to make money. That's the whole point. And then now I'm a geography major, and I did not see that coming, especially since I can be directionally challenged. Geography doesn't seem to be the one that you would pick. But I really found myself drawn to sustainability, and it was through talking with a random assortment of professors. I thought I was going to be in some of the social sciences, and I talked with the professors, and they were like, "You should try out. You should talk to the CTQA, which now I work at, and you should talk to." The sustainability center at Westchester, and you should they were like, you should go all these places, and then I did, and they were like, you should be a geography major, and I was like, what does that mean though? So I would just say like, just try everything, obviously in your comfort zone and what you're interested in, but if you find people that are going to recommend you stuff, absolutely take their advice.
Thanks, KT. I know we're reaching our Zoom fatigue threshold, particularly for those of you who are on Zoom all day or on video calls all day. I want to thank you all for being here. I want to provide an opportunity for any last minute questions or advice that anyone wants to share. Any final thoughts? I'd love to welcome them now.
I just wanted to add, maybe it's a little bit opposite direction, but be uncomfortable. I think that is part of the college experience. I know it can be so hard, believe me, I know it can be so hard to just go up to someone and say, hi, but it really is the opportunity to grow. And so at least I don't see that it is in the same way, like after you graduate, that you have these kinds of centers and these kinds of spaces that you can explore and like make mistakes, right? That's part of the experience in college. And I think that's what I would tell my younger self too, like go explore, be more, do more. And so of course, within the bounds of balance, we can always talk about that. But I think this is the one opportunity you get to kind of make some of those mistakes, because there's going to be people there to support you too. And so we're excited to potentially have you in the future, and we're here again. If it's not ourselves that are here when you get a chance to come here, please know that our offices are here to support you as well in those kinds of like mistake moments. But believe me, nothing's a mistake. It's all a part of it.
Thanks, Denise. That's such a great comment. And I think what you said about these offices, the Center for Trans and Queer Advocacy, the Dowdy Multicultural Center, and the Center for Women and Gender Equity are truly just some of the most wonderful places on campus that celebrate student difference, celebrate student mistakes, and celebrate students for who they are and how they're showing up. And that's something that's really special at Westchester, and something that I certainly appreciate. So Seeing no more questions in the chat, I'm going to thank my panelists, Denise, Tess, Stephen, KT, Sasha. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I know that our SIBs appreciate it, and our SIBs who will watch this later will appreciate it. You are part of what makes Westchester so special, and I'm so grateful you were here to share yourselves with our group. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We hope to see you tomorrow night at The Mentalist with Mark Toland. So that could be fun, and hope to see you all soon. Thank you so much.